The crystalline spires of the Zatharan palace hummed with a frequency that made Daniel's bones ache. He stood in the grand chamber, his environmental suit recycling the toxic atmosphere of this alien world. Watching as the court of the alien queen fell into an eerie, suffocating silence, Melissa, the queen's daughter, moved toward him with fluid grace that defied human physics. Her bioluminescent skin pulsed with patterns Daniel had learned to read over the past 6 months since determination, and something his translation algorithms couldn't quite pass. Daniel Carson, human emissary. She spoke through the Neuralink translator embedded in his temporal lobe. Her actual voice, a series of harmonic vibrations. You have negotiated well for your species. The treaty had taken 847 standard days to finalize. Earth needed the Zatharan quantum fold technology to escape their dying solar system. The Zatharans needed humanity's expertise in genetic adaptation. Their species was slowly losing the ability to evolve, locked in biological stagnation for 3 million years, but something in Melissa's oscillating patterns told Daniel this wasn't about the treaty. Then more, the queen, a massive entity whose form shifted between states of matter, observed from her throne of suspended antimatter. Her consciousness extended throughout the palace like a neural network, and Daniel could feel her attention pressing against his mind like a physical weight. The treaty is acceptable to both parties, Daniel said carefully. His words converted into biochemical signals the Zatharans could perceive. The Terran Federation looks forward to. There is a complication, Melissa interrupted, moving closer. The courtiers, beings of various forms that served the royal family, began retreating toward the chamber's edges. Their biosignatures flickered with what Daniel's suit identified as fear. His heart rate spiked. 6 months of diplomacy about to collapse. He ran through contingency protocols in his mind, but nothing in the Federation's extensive first contact database covered this scenario. What complication? He asked, forcing his voice steady. Melissa stopped 3 meters away. The precise distance Zatharan protocol dictated for formal interactions. In our species, when we negotiate with another civilization, we exchange more than treaties. We exchange understanding, compatibility, future. Daniel's Neuralink struggled to translate the concepts. His suit's AI whispered warnings about elevated cortisol levels. The Zatharan High Council has analyzed your species for 847 days, Melissa continued. We have studied your biology, your psychology, your potential, and we have found something unprecedented in our 3-million-year history. The Queen's antimatter throne pulsed, sending ripples through local space-time. Daniel felt his stomach lurch as gravity warped momentarily. Our species, Melissa said, her luminescent patterns shifting to colors Daniel had never seen before, has protocols. When 2 civilizations reach this level of negotiation, biological compatibility must be tested. Not just genetic though, your DNA's chaos and variability fascinates our xenobiologists, but emotional, psychological, spiritual, if that word translates correctly. Daniel's mind raced. The Federation had prepared him for trade negotiations, territorial disputes, even religious conflicts. But this, you're saying there's a compatibility test? He managed. There was, Melissa corrected. It concluded 73 hours ago. The results were controversial. The silence in the chamber deepened. Daniel noticed that some of the courtiers were no longer just retreating, they were actively avoiding looking at Melissa, their various sensory organs directed elsewhere. According to our protocols, Melissa explained, I, as the Queen's daughter and primary negotiator, underwent the compatibility sequence with you, the human representative. The quantum entanglement analysis measured our consciousness patterns during every interaction over these months. Daniel's throat went dry. He remembered every conversation, every shared meal of nutritional paste. Every moment Melissa had explained Zatharan history while he taught her about Earth's art and literature. He whispered, and the compatibility index registered at 97.3%. Melissa said, her patterns now a brilliant cascade of gold and crimson. In 3 million years of Zatharan history, no interspecies pairing has ever exceeded 43%. Most hover around 12%. The Queen's presence intensified, and Daniel felt something probing at the edges of his consciousness, not invasive but curious, powerful. Ancient as impossible by our understanding of xenobiology, Melissa continued. Our scientists have verified the results 4,000 times. The quantum probability matrices don't lie. Somehow, a human from a species we discovered less than 3 years ago, and a Zatharan from a lineage spanning millions of years, we have achieved consciousness compatibility that shouldn't exist. Daniel's suit registered his elevated heart rate, dilated pupils, the flush of blood to his skin, symptoms his medical training identified immediately, even as his diplomatic training screamed warnings about interspecies complications. What does that mean? He asked. For the treaty, for our peoples. According to Zatharan law, Melissa said, and for the first time Daniel heard something like emotion in her translated voice. It means I must offer you a choice. The treaty stands regardless of your answer. Your people will receive our technology. We will receive your genetic expertise. That is decided. She moved closer, breaking protocol, until only 1 meter separated them. But compatibility of this magnitude has significance beyond politics. It suggests possibility, future connection. Daniel understood then why the court had fallen silent, why the queen watched with such intensity. This wasn't just about diplomacy anymore. In my culture, Melissa said softly, such compatibility is honored with a gesture. We call it the embrace of futures, a physical acknowledgement that two beings have found unexpected resonance in an infinite universe. She extended her upper appendages, not quite arms, but close enough. The bioluminescence pulsed in patterns Daniel now recognized as hope, fear, and defiant courage. But you are human, she continued, solid, organic in ways we barely understand. This gesture might mean nothing to you, or everything. I cannot know. Daniel thought of Earth, dying under an expanding sun. He thought of the Zatharans locked in evolutionary stasis, two species, both desperate, both reaching across the impossible distances between stars. He thought of 847 days of conversation, of learning to read emotions in light patterns, of teaching Melissa to laugh at human jokes she only half understood, of quantum entanglement that somehow measured what his heart had already known. Daniel stepped forward and wrapped his arms around Melissa's shifting form. The palace erupted in harmonic resonance. The queen's antimatter throne blazed with light. The courtiers' biosignatures exploded in colors Daniel's suit couldn't classify. But Daniel only felt Melissa's embrace, alien, impossible, and somehow more real than anything he'd ever known. The treaty is signed, Melissa whispered through the new. But perhaps we have negotiated something greater than technology and survival. Perhaps, Daniel agreed. We've negotiated hope. The palace fell silent again, but this time it was the silence of possibility, stretching across the stars,